I really want to call it develop your potential. And so that's where we're going, and that's where we're going right now. The wealthiest place on the face of planet Earth is not the oil fields of Saudi Arabia. It's not the gold mines of South Africa. But where the richest deposits are found on the earth is in the local cemetery. Because there, buried beneath the soil, are some of the greatest songs, but they were never sung. Some of the greatest books that could have been written but never were. Some of the most magnificent paintings, but they never filled a canvas. Some dynamic ideas, but they're buried, unrealized, never fulfilled. And so our graveyard is filled with potential that will never in our lifetime, never in all eternity, ever see the light of day or be fulfilled. You're full of potential. You cannot afford to waste another year. You cannot afford to walk down through a decade without stepping out somewhere, without exploring somewhere. We'll get into this in some depth in just a minute. God's about to give you possibilities where your potential can bloom. I'm going to stick with potential. Antonio was a sculptor. He was a sculptor. He chipped away at a block of marble one time until he chipped and thought, I can see nothing in this. I can do nothing with it. So he took that slab and he threw it away. Along many months later came a man called Michelangelo who lifted up the same piece of chipped marble, brought it back to his studio, and produced out of that one statue the most famous of statues. It's called David. You can go into Rome and you can see that statue standing. But he took something that somebody else had thrown away because they didn't see the potential in it. But Michelangelo had a gift, and that gift was to see the potential. He could look at something and see what God would want them to see. You need to get different eyes tonight. You need to look at yourself from a different point of view, and you need to look in the mirror and say, I have potential. I have greatness on the inside of me. I'm not who you think I am. You've never even seen me. We've never explored who I am. We've never sat down to talk about what I could do given half a chance. If I had your money, what I could do. If I could drive your car, what I could. We've never even explored who I am. Look at somebody and say, you don't know who I am. But he had potential. And that man could find it. And I want to tell you something. Our greatest problem is not the devil. The devil's a defeated foe. The greatest problem that we face is ourselves, because we have a wrong perspective of who we are. We read the scriptures and it doesn't seem to sink in that we are rare, we are unique, and we are special. Now, let me give you the definition of this word potential. I gave it to you this morning, but in fitting where we are tonight, I think it's powerful. When I read it, I had to stand up. I got so excited. The simple Bible dictionary definition of potential is this. It's latent power. Latent power that is not yet visible, undiscovered, hidden from view, untapped ability not yet realized nor released. I thought, wow, that's talking about Joe Corry. If ever I saw a definition, that's me, so I'm going to read it to you again. Latent power that's not yet visible, so we can't see it. It's in you. Look at somebody say, it's in you. It's there. God put it in you, but we just can't see it right now. We've never seen you in action. Latent power that's not yet visible, undiscovered. There's parts of me I've not discovered yet. I'm not just talking about my physical makeup, but sometimes I go to do things, I push myself to a limit and suddenly realize I could do that all along. Hey, I didn't think I could do that an hour ago. I didn't think that was possible, but I just done it. There's undiscovered latent power hidden from view. I like this one. Untapped ability that has not yet been realized or released. And when God came to Gideon in the Old Testament And he was in a time of turmoil. The whole nation was in bondage. They were neither coming in nor going out. The enemy was besieging them. And now the enemy was moving in to really assassinate them and to wipe out the nation. And there's one man called Gideon. He's in a wine press. He's hiding down in there. He's working with the wheat. He's trying to gather the corn and the wheat in before the enemy would come and steal it. He's in there like everybody else, fearing for his life and fearing for his family. And in the midst of all this knee-knocking, stomach-tumbling fear that's gripping the nation, in the midst of that, he had a divine encounter. He had a visitation from God himself. The angel of the Lord came bringing a message from God, and God spoke to this man and said, and his first introductions, his first word to them was this: "You're a mighty man of valor." You're a mighty man of valor. At that point in time, God's the only one that saw that in that man. He didn't think he was a mighty man of valor. His granny didn't think he was a mighty man of valor. The man sitting beside him on the bus going to work every day didn't think he was a mighty man of valor. But when God first came to him, he said it. You're a mighty man of valor. God was the only one that seen it. But it's true, it was in him. Then God didn't stop there. He said, now go in this thy might. I see Gideon saying, what might? I got no strength. I don't have any capabilities. I can't, because I've heard some of you saying that. I don't have any strength. But evidently God did think he had strength. But understand this, because God wasn't talking to who he was right now. God was talking to his potential. Because God can see. God knows what's in you because he put it in you. And God is speaking to the deepest, most parts of him, to his potential, to the bit nobody had seen, to the exploits that had not yet been done. God began to talk to him on the inside and began to say, you're a mighty man of valor. When God spoke to him, he was talking to the real Gideon, the Gideon that was on the inside. He was talking to him because that's really who Gideon was. He didn't know it. That's who he was born to be. He just hadn't realized it yet. All it was going to take was an opportunity for those things to be seen, and that opportunity was on the horizon. 2020, your opportunities will be on the horizon, and you're going to have to look down inside yourself and say, well, I've seen him doing it and her doing it, but I don't know what I can. You're going to have to pull yourself up by the boots and turn around and say, I was born to, get out of my way. I was born to do this. Here I come, ready or not. Some of us will step out of the boat. Some of us will step into the boat. It'll be chaos in a second of time, but God is already talking to the inside of you, to your potential. Whether you realize it or not, whether you've even considered it or not, you have potential. Look at somebody, say, you have potential. You have unused strengths. You have hidden talents. You have gifts and ability, latent power. You have latent power, not yet visible, undiscovered, hidden from view, untapped abilities, untapped abilities. Oh, if I was even to think about that at 10 o'clock at night, I wouldn't sleep. What untapped abilities are in there? I remember when I was first starting off in ministry, I didn't know I could cast out devils till one day a devil stood in front of me. And it was either me running or him running. If I had to run, I'd look like a fool, so I had no other choice but do something about it. So I grabbed him by the ears so that he couldn't run away and shouted with all my might, come out! And to my surprise, he came out, and I rubbed my hat and said, who's next? But the real me on the inside was, dear God, don't talk back. Don't let him talk back to me. Don't let him talk back to me. Oh, yesy, yesy, yesy. But I found out a long time ago there's things I could do that I was trying to talk myself out of for years. But let me tell you something. There's untapped abilities and unrealized talent on the inside of you. There's a great wealth of talent and ability right here in this room. You just haven't found out who you are, but you will in the days that lie ahead. I found this little verse not so long ago. A diamond in the rough is a diamond sure enough. For before it ever sparkled, it was made of diamond stuff. Look at somebody say, you're made of diamond stuff. That's right, you're made of the real stuff. But because God puts it in it somewhere in our lifetime, he doesn't put it in at birth and then just let it go through and then you die and say, we missed your turn. He put it in because he knows what's coming. You were born for such a time as this. You were born to fulfill. You were born to speak. You were born to say something that nobody else can do. You and you alone carry something unique to this generation. But if you just go along your merry way, when your time comes and the breath leaves your body, you've missed it, and so has God. The whole plan, there's a bit missing out of it. because you sat for whatever reason. For whatever reason, you never explored who you really were. And people loves destiny preaching. The problem with destiny preaching, and the other problem with prophecy, and everybody wants a word. And the problem with prophecy and the problem with destiny is once you know it, you have a responsibility to fulfill it. So you can't just get a word and then sit at home and say, well, we'll see. Are you kidding me? God just told you in a moment of time what it is, who it is, where it's coming from, what it's going to do, and says you be ready when it hits, son. It means at that point you've got to you set yourself to one side, and whatever it takes, whatever it costs, whenever it comes, you'll say, I'm ready. Here I come, ready or not. In Colossians 4 and verse 17, the Bible says, and say to Archippus, what a name. Archippus, he says, take heed to the ministry that you have received in the Lord, that you fulfill it. I will point that to you. Take heed to the ministry that you have in the Lord, that you fulfill it. It's not just a matter of I'm able to share, I'm able to speak, I'm able to sing, I need to go to Bible school. No, that's not about this. This is about something that God needs done in this century that we're alive, that will affect human beings, that will affect somebody. Somebody won't die from cancer. Somebody will live a bit longer. Somebody will reach a nation. Somebody will support a missionary. Who knows what's going out there? But God has a plan. He has a plan, and He doesn't run on backups. That if this one fails, I'll go with this. God doesn't look at failure. He just says, this is all I have, so let's get going. And He puts something in you, and in you, and in you, and in you. And He expects you to go forward. And somewhere in your lifetime, He begins to disturb you. He begins to come and tap your shoulder. So you think every now and then you hear these words, there has to be more than this. There simply has to be more to it all than this. That's right. That's your destiny talking to you, trying to waken you up to let you know you have a part to play. There's a piece that you can fulfill. Your voice always comes back afterwards and begins to tell you, well, who are you? Sure, you're not trained. Sure, you couldn't do it. But let me tell you something. Half the stuff you need to train for, you don't really have to, because God has already put that latent power on the inside of you that you can do it. You can shake hell when you get out of bed in the morning. You don't need half the money that you think you need. You don't even need half the friends you think you need. You can do it because God is with you. He's talking to you. He's persuading you. He's pushing you. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 5. Paul writing to this young man, he says, watch now on all things, endure afflictions, and do the work of an evangelist, but make full proof of your ministry. Make sure, son, you fulfill it. Every opportunity comes your way, son, you take it. Fulfill your ministry. There's a great responsibility. You can do it. Look at somebody say, I wasn't sure, but now I know. You can do it. He wouldn't ask you. He would not ask you, then scratch his head and say, I wonder why I gave her that to do. He asked you because He knows it's already in you. His job is to bring it out of you. Let me tell you something. You are unique and you are special and you're one of a kind. And I don't know why we didn't meet before, but you're one of a kind. God has brought you in here so as I can rattle your cage and reach on the inside of you and talk to your destiny. But understand this. You and I have become partakers of the divine nature. Let me read that scripture. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 4. Whereby is given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these, the knowledge that they carry, the power that they carry, the revelation that they carry, we might become partakers of the divine nature. Partakers. Let me give it to you another way. You and I carry God's DNA. God's DNA is on the inside of you. There's a difference between adoption in biblical times and adoption now. They have fine-tuned it, but the whole criteria, of adoption is entirely different from the Bible till what we have right now. But in essence, it's like this. When a person is adopted into a family, that family receives, or that parents, whatever they are, they receive a child that may fit into the family, may be wonderful and everybody's happy, but they can never be. It's just not possible for that child ever to be the biological family. Do you understand that? It's just not possible. But they come from another biological people. But another group of people has taken them in. Now, they might fit in and be absolutely wonderful. And when you go through the legal structure, legally, now that's your child. But it can never come through. They're never the biological offspring. But the spiritual one, and the one that you and I are concerned with, is different. Because when you and I get born again, when we become again, when we get another shot at it, when we start off all over again with no history, everything's wiped away. And like the first time he came, you'd no history the first time he came. You're just a big bit bigger now, but you still have no history because it's washed, it's clean. You don't have a history. You come brand new. When you're born again, you become again. And this time, according to the scriptures, we are adopted into the family of God. We're not adopted as such that we're of a different biological people now. No, God does it in such a way that when you get born again, His life is put on the inside of you. You get His life and you get His nature. So in essence, you become biologically His son or His daughter. Look at somebody say, you're special after all. Royalty. That's who you are. You're a son or a daughter, a child of the living God, adopted. So as far as God's concerned, you're family. That makes you family. That makes me and you family, because we're all got the same folks here. We got the same parents here. We got daddy. And let me tell you something. We are now partakers of the divine nature of God. I've got His life. Jesus put it this way when He was describing in John 15, verse 1. He said, here's the deal. I'm the vine. You are the branches. He said, abide in me and I in Him, and the same will bring forth much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. He said, I'm the mainstay. I'm the tree. What you are is the branches, but you're in me. We are in God. Our life source, it comes through Him. So you and I to be effective, for you and I to be effective in this lifetime, to fulfill everything that God wants us to do, we've got to remain. The word the Bible can use it, we got to abide in Him, but it means we've got to remain in Him. We've got to stay linked to Him. We've got to have a deep relationship with Him, hooked up to Him, so that the power source now operates through us. So wherever we go, He goes. Wherever He desires that we be, that's where He is, because He can flow through us. We're a part of the nature and the family of Almighty God. So if you want to have maximum performance, it's really easy. Just stay real close. Just stay hooked up to the vine. Get your relationship so close with Him that his whole resources and sources will begin to operate through you. That latent power will become visible. And God can trust you. He can trust you. He'll put in front of you, as I said this morning, possibilities will begin to open when you begin to realize you have potential. You have what it takes to fulfill those possibilities, and all it takes is opportunities. And those opportunities will come it'll change everything about your life. The Bible says that the same Spirit that raised Jesus Christ from the dead, that is the Holy Spirit, abides in the inside of us. We've got the life of God, as we used to sing that years ago. I've got the life of God in me. Have you still got the life of God in you? Of course you have. Everywhere you go, He goes. And that's where the latent power comes from. It's God's power. He allows us to operate. It operates through us. He is the Creator. And the Bible tells us that we were created in the image and likeness of Almighty God. He decided what you'd look like. He's the one that made you for such a time as this. He is the designer. And when He designed you with a plan in mind, with a purpose in mind. He didn't design you and polish you up and set you on earth so as He could look at you. He polished you up and filled you with all goodness and potential so that He could use you, so that He could get the job done on the face of planet Earth. And as long as we stay hooked in and stay close with Him, and I tell you that power, those plans of God will begin to operate through us. You have unique talent and unique giftings in your life. Some of you never had to go to school to learn them. Some of it just happened because of that unique power, that unique giftings and abilities. But you have it. It's so unique to you that God give it to nobody else. He may give somebody else one similar, but it's not yours. Because it took your mind, it took your thinking, it took your voice, or it took your hands. You have a unique way to do it, but God give you a unique thing to do. And when God goes to fulfill something, He comes to your uniqueness. He comes to you and say, let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's go over here. Let's do this. Let's do this. And so our mind should not be filled with God, give me, meet. No, our mind should be filled with, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to be? How do you want me to help now? It's like our fingerprints. We all know now, like we got unique fingerprints. There's nobody that ever was and nobody that ever will be has the fingerprints that I have. They're unique. That you can take 7.5 billion people on the face of planet Earth and you can fingerprint them and you can tell who they are by the fingerprints because there's not two the same. They may look the same, smell the same, have the same haircut and wear the same jumper, but there's not two individuals, not two fingerprints the same. That's how unique God made you. I don't know how He made 7.5 billion fingerprints different. I don't know how He does it, but He did it. And He put them on you. And He made you different than 7.5 billion people across the globe that was ever been on the face of planet Earth and will ever come. There's nobody carries the same fingerprints as you. And then you struggle with uniqueness and think, nah, I'm just a nobody. You are not just a nobody, and you are not just a nothing. You are unique. There's nobody has ever walked the face of planet Earth like you. Never, none right now on the face of planet Earth, and in 1 billion years from now, there's still nobody on earth like you. God made you different than all the rest. He made you special than all the rest. He loaded you with gifts, talents, and abilities that you would need maybe just once in your lifetime, that you would need when He goes to get the job done, so He can come knocking at your door and say, Joe, let's get this thing done. Quit struggling with who you are and rely on the Spirit of God to teach you, and look in the mirror every now and then saying, God called me. He's asking me. It is God who's asking me to do this. Rise up and say, I believe I can do this. Psalm 139 is fantastic. It talks about before you're in your mother's womb. It talks about how He knit you together, how God knit you together in the womb. And somewhere He stepped back and He said, wonderful. Look at somebody say, wonderful. He stepped back and looked at you and said, wonderful. And this whole scripture says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. But it's God that said, wonderful. I think He looked at you and said, magnificent. Why don't you look at somebody and say, magnificent? Awesome, that'll get you engaged right there. But when He did that and looked at you, He didn't look at you and said, look at a mess. Here's a mess here. Look at that. No, He never did. He looked and smiled and said, that's exactly what I need. That's what I need for Africa. That's what I need for Istanbul. That's exactly what I need for Lurgan. That's the one right there. And maybe even ask the angel, did you top them up with all the things they're going to need? Yeah, we did it. Okay, let them go. Let them loose. We call it birth, but God calls it released. You were released onto the face of planet Earth to do something unique in your lifetime. You came with an assignment. The day you relinquished you, the day you give up you, and you surrendered to the Lordship of Jesus Christ, you were on track, you were on board. The day the Holy Ghost came into your life, He took the steering wheel of your life that had been empty up to that and began to guide you through the complexities. He brings you to places like this. He brings you in around this. He gets you to tune into this or listen to this, and somebody starts to talk out there, and it begins to talk to in here. Not just theology, not some psychological stuff, but something talks. Sometimes it bypasses your head, but it hits you right here and you think, did you hear what he just said? Because something's talking to your destiny. There's something out there that's drawing you towards who you are, what you're born to do, and what you're called to do in this lifetime. Because we all know we were not born to warm a pew. We were never born just to turn up and look up and watch somebody up there shouting, squealing, and dancing. We were born to fulfill something in our lifetime, and it's as quick as we can get at it. As quick as we can get our hand on the plow and start doing it, then we'll begin to work our purpose. Then you'll find there's gifts. Then you'll find there's talents. Then there's things you've never even tried to do. God is going to use a crowbar if necessary, but He's about to yank you right out of your comfort zone. He's got different ways of doing it. But He will not let you sit another 10 years doing nothing when people's waiting on you coming forth. There's something in you that somebody needs. Nobody else has it in all of Fermanagh. Nobody else has it. Or if they had it, we would have heard about it. Nobody else has it. Nobody else has thought about it. Nobody else has done anything about it. But here you sit, and you got something inside you that God put for such a time as this. He's bringing it out of your comfort zone, so as you say, God, what is it you want me to do? Where do you want me to be? And it's scary. If God asks you something big enough, man, I tell you, it's scary. But somewhere you look in the mirror and say, well, here I come, ready or not. And many a times when them opportunities come and you take it, you find it was God after all. And you have to tap into your potential. You got to turn around and say, God, I don't know if I could preach that. I don't know how I'm going to put this testimony together. But let me tell you, stay long enough in the room till he talks to you. When you come out, you'll have something to say. When you come out, you'll have something to do. When he says, I want you to go and shake hands, or I want you to just get up and do it, go for it. It's only when you get there you suddenly find the power is there to finish it. You'll find that the gift is there. The more you do it and the more it works, you'll find it is a gift that's walking in the inside of you. It's called potential. And you've got to learn how to develop that. The potential's like a seed. You've got to feed it. You've got to water it. You've got to put it in the right environment. You've got to get in around the people, the right people. The wrong people will talk you out of your opportunities. When God goes to give you an opportunity of a lifetime, there's always somebody there who'll say, I wouldn't do that. There's always somebody who'll turn around and say, sure, you're not well educated, or they'll never receive you, or you can't even talk their language, and how you... There's always somebody to talk you out, and the next thing you know, you're saying what they're saying, and you're talking yourself right out of your destiny. You're talking yourself right out of your destiny. When the Lord talked to me a few weeks ago before Christmas about this situation, about opportunities that's coming in 2020, it came because I'd been teaching leadership. I've taught it for many, many years. And one of the things when I talk destiny, talk all this type of stuff, leaders come afterwards and say, well, we understand that, Joe, and we know we're going to do this, but how do I get from where I am right now to where you want me to be? And it was a question that posed that I really had no answer to, and I thought, I don't know. I know about destiny, about vision, but how do you get from where you are right now into this place where God wants you to be? How do you do it? So I asked him. I said, Lord, it would be nice if you would tell me, to give me a quick clue on this. I could teach it somewhere. Well, I never got an answer for quite a while. In fact, quite a while. And then one day when I was talking about something else, he says, concerning the question you asked me, how do you get from where you are to where you want to be, from where God wants you to be? He said, write this down. I said, well, how do they do it? He said, it's simple. It's so easy, people miss it. I said, well, how? He said, I give them opportunities. I give them opportunities. Opportunities are doorways into your destiny. But most people, here's what he said, 90% of the people never reach it, never find their destiny because they talk themselves out of taking the opportunity. They talk themselves out of it. Well, I couldn't do it. I don't have enough money. What if they don't like me? What if they don't accept me? What if they laugh at me? What if they cry in the midst of it? What if they all get up and walk out? You know all you're doing? Talking yourself out of an opportunity. And an opportunity is what I'm telling you. Let me tell you, an opportunity is a doorway. An opportunity is a doorway into, it's a corridor that goes into your destiny. And if you'll take the step of faith and you'll walk into that, if you'll take that opportunity, you'll never be again where you used to be. You'll have launched into a whole new direction. I am where I am today because I took the opportunities. You can't make them opportunities happen. These are God-given. He gives you the possibilities. Oh, I wish I could talk on that from this morning. Give it a hand. You'll have to get the YouTube of that one. But he gives you the possibilities. He fills you full of the potential. But to get the whole thing opened up, he has to give you the opportunities. This is why I'm telling you, get ready, because in 2020, the opportunities will come. And the first thing you'll try to do is talk yourself out of it. Or your wife will try to talk yourself out of it. Or your granny will try to talk yourself out of it. The enemy for sure will try to talk yourself out of it. But if you're ever going to do what God wants you to do, you're going to have to turn around and say, I'm not listening, bye-bye. And step and move. And head at least in that direction, because you think, well, how am I going to do it? God already has put latent power. It's in there. You haven't seen it. It's not visible. There's gifts, there's abilities you've never even seen right now because you're not in a place to use them. But when you step through that opportunity, you'll be there to do it. And an opportunity is a doorway to your destiny. So he'll come and talk to you. And so you need to surround yourself with people who thinks the same way. The most deadliest thing to your destiny is surrounding yourself with critics and surrounding yourself with people who knows nothing of these things. They'll talk you out of it. They'll laugh at you. They'll make fun of you. And they'll make you cower in a corner. And 20 years will go by and you'll miss your opportunity. It's hard to stay off this subject because I'm heading more towards opportunities than I want to stay on potential. But opportunities, great ones, sometimes only comes once in a lifetime. I find scripture reference for twice in a lifetime. But I don't see it any more than that. So when opportunities of greatness comes, they'll only come once or twice in your lifetime. You cannot afford to miss them. I reckon God will give you good warning, give you a shot in the ear, let you know it's coming now. Get ready, Joe. I reckon he gives you such, but let me tell you, you won't have time to mess with it and say, well, you come back next year. I'm not in a good place right now. I'm on holidays. We've just signed up for a cruise, so I don't think I can go. You don't want to miss it. Because those once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime opportunities propel you, launch you. And suddenly where you used to just be a small individual in Northern Ireland, suddenly now you're on the world market. Suddenly now you're global. Suddenly now people from other nations want to know who you are and what you come from. And it's not because of your good looks and charm. It's because you were born for such a time as this. And God wanted to get you from where you are to where he needed you to be. So he gave you an opportunity. 2020 will carry such opportunities. But potential that you carry is like a seed. You can't afford to be around the wrong people. They'll talk you out of it. Be careful what books you read, but do read books. You've got to read. You've got to study. You've got to listen. Find different people. I mean, the internet's full of great preachers and speakers. You don't have to listen to them all. And you got to judge who you're listening to. But get around those that's speaking to your destiny. Get around those that talks to your potential. Get around those that when they speak, they say something. I know 45 minutes message will say one thing, but it got you. And you think, wow, did you just hear what he said? Nobody else heard it. It went straight over their head, but you heard it. You said, I heard that. Look, let me take a note. And suddenly you walk out feeling like a champion because of one word somebody said. You need to get yourself in around with those people who speak those things, who can edify you. Some of you have got friends, and you should have dumped them in 2028. But you got friends who never encourage you, never lift you up. All they do is criticize you, backbite you, and put you down to your face. They'll never build you. It'll never prepare you for your tomorrows. Never. You got to get around those people that'll edify you. They'll encourage you. They'll lift you up. You need to be around believers with like mind, who when you turn around and say, I'm going to do this, they'll not laugh at you. They'll turn around and say, man, that's big, all right. But I tell you, there's nobody, if anybody can do it, it's you. Who'll get behind you. Never laugh at somebody's dream. It's laughable, some of them, but then God never asked you to do it. That's why you can laugh at it. But if it's big enough, let me tell you, they're not laughing either. They're trying to find somebody to encourage them to go on ahead and do it, because probably nobody's ever done it before. But what if it's God? What if it's God? And all they need is somebody to encourage. Get around believers that will encourage you. Get around those that encourage your gifting. That they're not looking for perfection. You don't have to be perfect. I mean, so when you first get up, I mean, now you have an iPad, so you're not going to wrinkle it. But if you get up the first time, your hands are shaking and you go to read your notes and your notes is all wrinkled up. I mean, that's natural. That's normal. Don't let somebody come down and say, oh, man, that was pathetic. Look at the... Don't listen to them. Everybody has to start somewhere. Quit listening to whether people shaking when they're doing it or not. Listen to what they have to say. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's shaky a little when the first time. But listen to the content of what they're saying. And don't take, they say words because nerves get them. Just try and find what they're in general trying to say, and you'll find God can use them. God can use us all. Sometimes he's got nobody else to use but us. Look at somebody say he picked a good one when he picked you. Get around those that encourage you, those that will encourage your giftings, those that will encourage your calling in life. So when your opportunity comes, you know you can phone somebody and say, will you hear this? You can talk to somebody concerning it. And those people that's called the church, they have a part to play in your destiny. They have a part to play in your potential. But you have the greatest part to play in your potential. You need to pray over it. You need to pray about it. You need to pray faith prayers over it. Not negative prayers and complain, oh God, don't ever ask me, and I don't think I can do it. That's not, no, get into a faith prayer. Say, teach me your ways. Show me what to do. Is there something I need to do? God, why don't you just let me get into a workshop here, put me in front of somebody, and let me have a go. And after you do it 2 or 3 times, say, Lord, thank you for showing me that. Show me something else now. I remember when I was learning how to do the prophetic stuff, I used to listen to everything I was saying, watching everything, and I got back and say, that was fun, that was good. Show me something else. Teach me another way. Can I do it this way? Would you let me see it this way? I'll tell you, the Holy Ghost, I think he enjoyed just teaching us how to do the things. He's your teacher. He'll teach you and say, show me that again. But learn how to pray faith prayers over your potential. Say, God, I don't know what all is in me, but I feel one day I'm going to be casting out devils. Teach me. I don't know what's in me, but one of these days I'm going to be handing millions and trillions of pounds or euros or dollars or whatever it is, but I'm going to be handing millions. Teach me how to work money. Ask him to teach you. Ask him to teach you the things. Let me tell you something. You need to be praying over your destiny, praying over your purpose, and praying over your potential. And as you begin to pray, God will show you more and more and more. You need to be in the Word of God. You need to be reading the Word. You need to be reading the Word. Lord bought me a new Bible this year. It's a thicker one. It's a bigger one. But over the years, I always went one with the commentaries on the back and the commentaries on the middle. You know what you end up doing? Reading the commentaries more than the words. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And so Laura went and she bought me a Bible. It's a big, thick one. But there's no commentaries in it. There's nothing right. There's just word, just word, just word. I thought, that's right. New season, new decade, new beginning, new Bible. Let's start all over again. So it started in the new year, and it started right in that word. I said, God, talk to me. We got a new Bible here. We got word ready. I need the word. You need the word. The word makes you come alive. The word feeds your potential. The word makes you, gives you possibilities. The word gives you faith. So when your season comes and your time comes, you're ready to launch. You're ready to go. You're ready to do the work of the Master. You got to keep yourself in love. We're almost finished. But you got to keep yourself in love. Look, there's a million things out there will try to steal the love out of your heart. I'm telling you right now, the enemy will bring people, unlovely people, right into your life. The nasty man from table number 6, he'll sit right down beside. All types of people will come into your life to try to get you to put barriers up, to try to get the compassion out of your life. You got to guard it. The enemy tries to get you over into unforgiveness. Because I taught this morning, but the word for opportunity means circumstances coming together. So God takes 20 years of bringing the circumstances together. And when the circumstances come together, the right people at the right time, even if they said no yesterday and they were nasty yesterday, God's working on, and there comes one point in time, it's called the Kairos moment, one point in time when it all comes together. The day that it comes together, the right people at the right place at the right time, the right when it comes together, God calls that an opportunity. And God has taken 20 years to get it all together. It's the coming together of circumstances creates an opportunity. And when it comes, God has to say to you, do it now. Write that check, make that phone call, send that text, go and visit that people, go and pray for that person, because it took 20 years to bring the circumstances to this place. It wouldn't have worked yesterday. It won't work tomorrow. But there's a circumstance come together, and suddenly God says, go to the bank now, offer them this now. Retract now, sell the house now. There's moments, and God sets it all up, and suddenly the circumstances come together. God calls it an opportunity, but you have to be ready to go. And when you're ready to go, I'm telling you something, it works. Suddenly they say yes where years for they've said no. Suddenly they just wipe off a debt. And for the life of you, you don't even want to mention in case they bring it back up again, but they just wipe off a debt. I heard of a person who was something like £15,000 in debt, and they were always sending them the bills. There was never another bill sent. Never. They got a prayer line one night, a deliverance prayer. There was never another invoice, Never another bill, never another debt collector, no notification, no nothing, but nobody ever came looking for that 15,000. Look at somebody say, give me their address, give me their name, give me. I've seen Americans, but that one really, I thought, man, worthwhile the fellas while to get into that here, but you can't press that. But I'm just saying, when all circumstances comes together, possibilities are beginning to happen. Circumstances come together. It's another word for opportunity. And we got to be on the ball, and we got to say yes. But there's 100 different things we'll try to talk it out you. If you get into unforgiveness, let me tell you, the cogs of heaven, the wheels that makes it come together, suddenly stop. Suddenly stop. There's nothing working for you anymore. It stops. When you get into bitterness and unforgiveness, it doesn't work anymore. And those things that God is planning to bring together as circumstances coming together called an opportunity never happens. Just plain never happens because of unforgiveness. That's not the only thing will stop it, but that's the biggest. You cannot afford to get into unforgiveness, even if they're at fault. Look at somebody said, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. Of course, we're all innocent in here. But let me tell you, no matter what it was, when you felt that hurt, and you wanted to say all types of things and do all manners of evil against them. When you wanted to do that, let me tell you something. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Because when you do it, your circumstances that's coming together suddenly stops. Which simply means there's no coming together, so there's no opportunities. No. Get that forgiveness going real fast, real fast. Walk in the love of God. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, no matter how they do it, keep on loving, because God is making a way. He's given you possibilities. The circumstances is coming together. I'm telling you something, you're full of potential. That time is coming. You got to learn how to stimulate your faith. Stimulate your faith. Put yourself out on a limb every now and then. When's the last time you give that hurt? When's the last time you give? I mean, people give, but people's bit of sense. They'll give, but they always leave plenty back in here that'll help you out. You know, you're never going to be stuck. But did you ever give that you've left yourself in a place that if God doesn't show up, you just plain haven't gotten out? Have you ever done that? Have you ever challenged yourself? Because over the years, Laura and I have done this. There's times it's really easy to find the comfort zone. Things is working, all's going well. It's easy to find a comfort zone and park your car there and camp there for a while. But let me tell you something, it's boring there. And nothing's happening for you there. And many's the time Laura and I has launched out the boat, and we have pressed out the faith, and we have put ourselves into a situation where if God doesn't show up, you're finished. Sometimes you'll just write the bigger check than normal. Sometimes you'll just say, let me do this. I have sent money to the missions that I didn't even have myself. If I send this, I'm broke. If I send this, I've nothing. But you know what I've done? I've sent it. I've put myself out in a limb because I needed faith, energy. I got the faith that God was building, but somewhere faith is only faith when it's in action. So I've learned how to step up and step out and put myself into a place where faith now has to operate. I taught in Bible school for 2 years. I didn't have to, and they didn't pay me. But I did it for 2 years, and the reason I did it was because I was pastoring, but I wasn't operating in the faith that I wanted to operate. I needed more faith. So you know what I did? I put myself out of the way. I put myself out on a limb, and I said, I'll do it. I've never taught it before, and they give me a curriculum. As I've never taught this, it'll take a bit of faith to do it, but I said, sign me up, I'll do it. And I taught it for 2 years. Put yourself out of the boat every now and then. Get yourself launched in where you have to depend on God, where you have to trust God. It's a different thing when the devil puts you in a situation where you have to trust. It's another thing when you put yourself out there and say, okay, God, let's see an action here. I'm now trusting you. Different thing altogether, but it'll stimulate your faith. Learn how to stimulate your faith. Learn how to nourish your dreams. When God gives you a dream in your heart, it has to be bigger than you. Learn how to write your dream down. Every now and then go back and look at it and add another piece to it. Every now go back up and look again and say, God, how are we doing towards that? Are we still heading in that direction? Nourish your dreams. Talk about your dreams. Think about it. Now I'm closing. But you can do just about anything because of that latent power that's in the inside of you. The Bible says this, and Paul wrote it to the church, and he wrote, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But let me tell you something, God puts limitations on you. He puts limitations on you. And you can do all things, but you can't do it without Him. Number one, you cannot do it without God. He said, I am the vine, you are the branches. Abide in me. If you're not abiding in me, it's plain not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You have got to abide. You've got to stay close. You've got to run close. I can do all things, but I can't do it without Him. I learned that a long time ago. I am nothing without Him. I couldn't preach, I couldn't teach without Him. I am nothing without Him. I wouldn't have known what to do with them 3 words. When I get up yesterday morning, I say, look, I got 3 words. You say, what are you going to do with them? I said, don't know. I said, talk to me in about 6 hours afterwards, I'll tell you what I'm doing. And then about tea time, I come out and said, I have it. But that wasn't because of my intellect, good looking charm. That's because I spent time with the Master. And the Holy Spirit says, here's this, and here's this. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, but I can't do it without Him. Always remember that. And God has put limitations on you. And I'm closing with this now. He has put limitations on you. So even though you can do it, He doesn't ask you to do it alone. He puts limitations on you so that you're going to need somebody else, another people, a comrade, somebody else to run with you. He always makes it that way. You could do it. You could do it because you have the ability, but He doesn't let you. He always puts in such a way that you have to make room for somebody else in your life to run that race with you. So you'll never run it alone. You'll have to reach other people, find other people who can do what you do, and they may even do it better. Who knows and who cares? Just get the job done. Don't get jealous or envious over people. We just say, do you want to go together? Will we go to the nursing home and start praying for folks? Will we gather in a meeting? Will we start having a prayer meeting? Will we pray all night? What can we do? That's right, because there's somebody out there who wants to run the same race with you. They're looking to you. They're watching you. But if they don't go, you're going to have to go alone at times, and I don't really think it's the best idea going on your own. But at times you'll have to, because God needs somebody there to do it. You have the potential. The possibilities are there now because God put them in front of you. The devil steals your choice. God always gives you choices. You'll never be stuck another day in your lifetime because He always makes a way of escape. Always makes a way of escape. That's choices. You will never again in your lifetime ever be at a place you say we have no other choice. You'll always have a choice as long as you walk with God. Always, always, you will have a choice for to do something great in the kingdom. You have the ability. It's called potential. He already put it inside you. And your potential is equal to the assignment that you're on. You have more than enough to cover everything and every day that you'll ever be on that assignment. And all He needs now to give you is the opportunities. And 2020, most of us will have those opportunities in there. Some will be small. What will lead through the greater doors? Some of them will be big, and they will have to kiss you goodbye. Some will be big. Some of you will just clean leave the country. Say, I'm on my way, Joe. I'd never stop you. I'd say, adios amigo. Can we write you? Let me know when you get there and see. We're going to pray for you. Because there's a mission. There's a society. Our job is not to fill the place and keep you coming every Sunday. It's not our job. Our job is to get you filled, get you trained, get you whatever it is, to get you out there so that you can go and live the dream and you can do what you were born and called to do in this generation. Who are you? What's on the inside of you? Who are you? What have you got? What have you got? If we only knew who you are, we might be all parked outside your house tomorrow night, lined up, waiting on whatever it is you have. I don't know what you have. But tell me you've got nothing when God has already put something on the inside. Some people's is more obvious than others. But even on the obvious ones, I've found this, on the obvious ones, they do something because they're trained, they're good at it. And then one day they do something else. And they think, wow, wait a minute, look at this. I didn't even know I could do this. And they stop doing this that they're good at, and they're over here now. Keep asking God, where am I? What is it you want me to do? And then ask Him for the opportunities to get going, to get doing, and let it come forth. Father, we thank you tonight that you're visiting with us in this building. You're talking to us. You're talking to our potential. You're not talking to our head. You're talking to our potential. You're talking to our destiny. You're already out there in 2020. You're ahead now. You've turned your back on 2020. You're looking us in the face. Your hands are reaching out and saying, come on, step out over. Come on, come on, come on. Here's what you're going to need on the way, but I'll meet you on the journey. That's right. You go that journey with us every step of the way. We got lives to touch. We got illnesses to stop. We got darkness to push back. We got lives to rescue because we're hooked up with heaven. We're plugged in now, Holy Spirit. Wherever you need us, whatever you need us to do, because we're not the healer. You are. Whatever you need us to do, we're right on top. We're ready. We're assigned. We're functioning. This is our time. We're ready for it. In Jesus' name. I want to take a moment right now to pray over folks for a few minutes. We got no coffee going tonight again. What happened to the coffee pot? Did it blow up on us? Oh, somebody get that coffee going there by next week. I need a coffee halfway through this. All right. Meanwhile, back at the ranch. We'll go pray with folks if you need prayer. If you don't, we're fine and dandy. Look up YouTube middle of the week somewhere. And you'll find this morning's message on. You got to get this morning's message. It'll talk a whole different area where we were tonight, but it'll inspire you. But we're going to talk to you tonight. We want to pray over you. If there's sickness or illness, we'll take a moment or two to pray over that. But if really, whatever else you're here for, we'll take it. We'll do it. We'll talk with you. We'll help you. Are you ready?